So I woke up this morning and looked at the calendar and realized that it is almost November 1st, basically. Like, it's over half the semester. The university semester's almost gone. And I guess for high school students, you're still early in the semester, but I mean, diplomas are in January, so you guys have a lot coming up too. So right now at the University of Lethbridge, we have so much going on. I work for the newspaper, so there has been no end to the stuff to cover, and there's so many amazing theatrical performances going on, and you can tell there's a lot going on. Today, though, I am actually going to show you some footage from our, on Tuesday we had Peter Mansbridge come and check out the university and talk to the students about basically current events and social responsibility and stuff. So it was a really, really amazing performance. He is a TV personality, but that's besides the point. Overall, it was an amazing talk. It lasted about an hour, and then he had a question and answer session. And basically, I captured around 10 minutes of it. I thought about videotaping it all, but I wouldn't be able to show more than 10 minutes at a time per video anyways. So take a look and enjoy it, because it was absolutely amazing to be there, to be standing in front of Peter, or sitting in front of Peter Mansbridge is pretty cool. All the proceeds were in going towards the University of Lethbridge Students' Union Food Bank. I think the last number I heard was they raised something around $1,000 for the food bank, and it goes a long way when you think about it. So basically, I'll get to the films, and also look forward to seeing some heads up. We just had our new building, Market Hall, was just recently opened. We had our presidential inauguration. You try saying that 10 times fast, okay? And what else have we had going on? We had a play open up on the 19th, Uncommon Women and Others, which I actually get to go see tonight. It will be my first play at the university that I've ever seen, which is shameful because I'm in my second year. And I lived in residence my first year, and I didn't go see play. So besides that, it's been busy. I'm going to go enjoy myself a little bit tonight at the play and enjoy Peter Mansbridge.
All familiar to me, but I said, yeah. Anyway, we started talking about what had been the good old days of scouting, and they had been, and it was clear that in fact we had been in the same group. We'd gone on many of the same trips together. We'd been to some jamborees together. We knew a lot of common friends. And we talked, I don't know, 6 or 7 minutes, right there at the side of the road, about all these good old times. And suddenly there was a pause in the conversation, and he looked at me and he said, "So, what do you do now?" So ever since that day, I've never assumed everybody knows what I do, and I've also reassessed my view of scouting because he gave me a ticket. What I heard about was the election of the new mayor in Calgary, which is interesting enough, as you well know, from who it is and what had been expected in the days and weeks leading up to the election about who was going to win and who wasn't going to win. But what I found most interesting was the turnout rate in Calgary. I don't think they've come up with a final number yet, but somewhere around 50%. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, and it's not when you consider it's only half the electorate. But it's a lot more than most municipal elections in this country get, and it's a lot more than Calgary got the last time. I land in Lethbridge. A fellow who picks me up at the airport and brings me to the campus starts talking about the election you had here. Now, I don't know what any of the issues were. But what I found intriguing of what he said was 2 things. One, turnout rate was up. 35%, still sounds awfully low, 1 in 3 voters. The last time it was 21, 22%. And that there were 30 people running for 8 seats on council, and most of them serious candidates. Well, all those are really good signs that there is a certain life within the strain of democracy that runs through both these cities. One of the young journalists who was interviewing me before this session started was asking, what's my, kind of word of advice, or how would I direct young journalism students? What should they be thinking of as they start off in their careers? And I say, look, it's simple. Think big, have big dreams. You want to have big dreams, but be prepared to start small. And that can mean in a small community, at a small station, a small newspaper. Start small. You're going to appreciate not only what others do, but what your community does.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to capture the whole presentation by Peter Mansbridge. It would have been, my camera wouldn't have made it through it even if I had tried. But in summation, he went on to say, he went on to tell 3 stories. The first one was about a young girl in a tsunami-stricken, I believe it was one of the states. And he went on to explain how she came up to him and she said, "Canada good," basically is what she said. And it was she related Canada with good because these 3 nurses came down from Canada on their own will, not sent by any corporation, and basically started administering shots for the different diseases that can come with such a natural disaster with unhealthy water and everything. The second story he told was how in the Netherlands the people would walk by, or they would, every 5 years or so, they come and stand at the memorial and basically honor the fallen Canadian soldiers that liberated their country. He went up to one of the women and asked why she brought her 3-year-old son out to see this. And she said that she wanted him to know what a Canadian is. And what Peter Mansbridge is trying to get at is the fact that we've been striving and trying to define Canadian identity for years. From everything from hockey to the Queen, but it doesn't define us. And then in one sentence, basically, it was this woman from the Netherlands that put into words what Canadians are. And then what happened, the third story, was about a young woman that is from Afghanistan, and she fled Afghanistan when the Taliban took over, and they basically, her and her family became permanent residents of Canada. And she went and she got her degrees in computer sciences, and she had oodles and oodles of jobs just lined up at her feet. And she said, "Hold them, I'm going to go back to Afghanistan and make these other women realize what it is to be in a free country, what it's like, what kind of rights you have." And so she went back and constantly risked her life to go and explain to these other women who wanted to know what it was like and what they could have and how it is to be in a free country. And all in all, what he was trying to make us realize is the fact that the citizens, us as Canadian citizens, are the ones that create the Canadian identity. And in order to create that identity, we need to be active and participate in the government, in different goings-on, because essentially it's not just 1 or 2 of us that make a difference. It's all of us together. It's all of us together that create the Canadian identity, and unless we have a voice, unless we use democracy to its full potential, then Canadian identity is just going to be known as Stephen Harper or the Queen or hockey. We can't let those, while fairly accurate, markers define all of us. There are 36 million or so who of us in Canada, and especially at a university level, you have to realize that you're becoming an involved citizen just by trying to further your education and your life and everything else. So you have to take an active stance in not only the municipality, not only the province, but in the country itself. So that's what he meant when he started out talking about the fact that we have just recently had an election. We've had a new mayor elected, and so now it is given to us that it's our right. It's our right to vote, and if we don't vote, then we're basically not setting back society, but we're not giving back the way we can. And that's what's important about the Canadian identity, is the fact that it represents all of us, not just the hockey teams, not just Stephen Harper, not just the Queen. So essentially that's what he's trying to get at. And to end with what he started with, is he said a really powerful phrase when actually one of my colleagues went and talked to him, had an interview with him, and he asked him, what would you say to aspiring journalists and young students? And basically what he said was, dream big, because you know what, we all want to dream big, but be prepared to start small. And by starting small, by getting those little stories and starting at a university level, a community level, and then look at him now, he's at the national level. By starting small, you appreciate not only the others around you and yourself, but you also appreciate your community. And that's important nowadays, because I think we're forgetting that we do have an identity, each of us individually, and together that forms the Canadian identity. So it was a very inspiring speech that he had, and it was very interesting at the end when we had a question session and a 9/11 conspiratorist stood up and started railing at him, and Peter Mansbridge just basically shut him down. And I'm sure you can find that somewhere on the Global site or CTV or one of the news sites, or probably YouTube. Somebody's got a video of it, and that was probably one of the better parts of the speech, actually. Yeah, Mansbridge knows his stuff. So anyways, hopefully you can find the rest of it somewhere, but it was really, really interesting and really worth it, and it just goes to show what kind of things that one person can do.